Good morning. It's time to get in touch. Brought to you by Geisinger Muncie and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home. Every week, this public affairs show shines a spotlight on people and programs in our communities that improve the quality of life in Lycoming County and beyond. I'm Freddi Hammer, host of In Touch and news director at Backyard Broadcasting. Today, we're talking about a place where fresh food and community come together. We're going to sit down with Sid Furst, talk about how a local garden is making a big impact in Williamsport, and it's the Salvation Army Community Garden here in Williamsport. Hello, Sid Furst. Welcome to In Touch.
Thank you. It's great to be here and talk about something that a lot of people have a lot of passion about.
Definitely. I believe you have a lot of passion about this. Tell me a little bit about how you actually got started here in Williamsport with the Williamsport Garden.
I was at a period in my life where I was getting ready to retire, think about retirement, and actually the first Friday, I was walking down Pine Street and there was a table and it said, "How would you like to be a master gardener?" I got involved in the Master Gardener program in 2014, and when I got out of that, which is a 6 months intensive training, one of the administrators asked me what I'd like to do, and I said, I am interested in community gardens. She said, you better call Amy McGovern at Salvation Army because she wants to do a community garden as part of the social program of the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know how to do it. And I said, well, I'm old enough to know how to do it. So I used my age and my unswerving
optimism
about not taking no as a response, and we're able to put together the people, of which there were a group of people back in 2014, which was Salvation Army, Master Gardeners, Lycoming County Penn State Master Gardeners, and the food bank.
Yeah.
And that group of people took an idea, and 2 or 3 of us started working the phones and working the community, and we're able to pull everything together as a donation, which started with UPMC giving us the ground where the garden was. At that time, it was only 8,000 square feet, and we started the mission.
Now, that's at 724 Park Avenue?
Right, 724 Park Avenue. For those of us remember, at one time, there were all houses in that area, which the hospital bought and took down. So although we say it's 724, actually, if you were to look at a map of properties, you're going to see it was many, many, many addresses in the Park Avenue area below High Street.
Well, tell us a little bit about what the Salvation Army Community Garden does. I mean, describe the whole process.
Yeah, it's a blessed thing. It is as you mentioned, and very importantly, it's part of the Salvation Army mission to reach out to the community, engage the community, serve the community. So in starting the community garden, the original mission elements were, 1, provide raised beds for people, for organizations to have a gardening experience, to grow their own food. We also had areas that we used for education of all ages from throughout the community as people became interested.
That's sort of your throwback as a master gardener, teaching.
Absolutely, right. The Master Gardener program, the focus is that exactly, is teaching. And the third thing, although we didn't have the ground so much at that time, was to start to grow vegetables, which we could, through volunteers, we could grow, manage, take care of, harvest, and make it available to the community at the garden on a daily basis.
That's
which
wonderful.
has become a major focus over the 12 years that we've been operating.
So working with the Pennsylvania Food Bank, now are you providing fresh food when possible?
Originally, that was a concept that we would feed the food bank or distribution partners. But what we found is that we could be more effective by growing our own produce and by harvesting that and making it available at the garden every day.
Okay.
So we use our own distribution, so to speak.
Sure.
And everything we grow that we harvest, we put out is basically gone that day.
Amazing. People are looking for that so much.
Absolutely. We're probably growing and distributing somewhere around 10,000 pounds of food a growing season.
So you mentioned before we got here today is that this is your busy time of year. Springtime, you're going at full throttle.
As you and I kind of smiled and laughed about, I said, when I start talking to you, I probably will be dirty because I've been at the garden since 7 o'clock this morning with a group of people with equipment, and we are spreading compost. We are rototilling and working other sections of the garden to get ready for our major planting, which will occur on May 9th. We'll plant over 500 plants.
When you're in this busy time, do you go every day?
Every day.
And you have what's...
There's somebody there every day now.
Okay.
And we'll be right up through October.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sort of manning, how do you make sure that the deer aren't eating anything? I guess that's a major problem.
I don't know how you knew that. It's really amazing. For those of us in gardening, we know that there are a range of pests that you have to be conscious of, and
Sure.
you see them. And uniquely, because we are located just south of UPMC, the deer actually come off Camel Street Hill.
Okay.
And that's the herds that are back by the Williamsport home. But anyways, after they've eaten everything they could find on Camel Street Hill, they actually come down and walk down Camel Street.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And come to the garden. And they've been annoying. They've been a problem.
I mean, you have to sleep in a tent and clap a lot.
There's a whole family, I'll tell you that. We know it from the footprints. I want to say, when we were talking about the mission and the elements of the garden,
Yeah.
the other thing we knew we needed and we felt we had a stewardship responsibility was recreating the habitat. When the houses were taken down in that area by the hospital, they not only took the houses down, they took everything down. So they took the trees, the plants, and all it was grass.
Okay.
So when the hospital would give us the original amount of ground they gave us, and then the incremental amounts of ground, we're up to about 45,000 square feet now. Started with 8,
Yeah.
we're at 45.
Amazing.
So we had to create a habitat because you have to have pollinators, you have to have trees, you have to create an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so
Get your bees to come.
Absolutely. The cycle of nature is astounding, and so we had to rebuild that, and we have done that very consciously, particularly over the last 5 years, and putting in pocket parks with Pennsylvania native plants. We're right now, one of our projects in 2026 is to create an edible walkway.
Neat.
We started that, and we just finished planting apple trees and blueberry bushes.
I wondered what other crops you have available. I guess that's the season now. We're talking about early spring stuff.
Yeah. What will happen over the next month is we'll harvest some spring crops, which would be lettuce, spinach, some other spring crops. We have a lot of our gardeners are very interested in plant a lot of garlic. So we have a lot of garlic that comes into the late spring harvest.
Oh, all right.
But what we'll be doing here in the time around May 9th is we'll be planting the summer crops, the summer vegetable crops, which is anything you can imagine we're growing.
Even corn.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, do you provide the tools and the guidance for people that come in and want to do? Tell us about how someone may be able to be a gardener there.
The way we operate our raised beds, and we have a total of about 20 raised beds, 15 to 20 raised beds, depending on how they're divided. And every year since 2014, every one of those has been taken.
Okay.
So many of the raised beds right now are taken by people who have been there for a number of years. But this year there are a few new people. We love having new people get involved in the garden. And the way it operates is each year, nobody has a raised bed for years. Every year we turn it over.
Okay.
So you have to reapply. And you sign an application, and you sign a form that indicates the guidelines and a waiver of liability, which is kind of standard stuff in a community garden.
I'm wondering about the different crops that you do have. How important are they to sustaining food security in this community?
If you look at food insecurity in Lycoming County, and you look at the amount of people who are receiving some kind of nutritional benefits,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at what is called the ALICE portion of the population. This was some data that was put together by the Lycoming United Way under Ron Frick. But what they were looking at are families that are above the benefit line, but still struggling week to week, day to day, month to month, in terms of managing their budget. And so difficult decisions are made. If you take that number of percentages of the population of Lycoming County when I talk about this, I like to not use percentages because sometimes percentages don't really mean anything unless you apply it against a number.
Okay.
That percentage of those two groups against the population of Lycoming County, you're probably talking about 30 to 40,000 people who are trying to figure out in their budgets, trying to afford good food.
Yeah.
I'm actually part of I actually teach a course in the Bucknell Institute of Lifelong Learning. It's called Healthy Soil, Healthy Plants, Healthy People. There is no question about the benefit to a person's health, not only physically but mentally, by eating good food that has the proper nutrition in it. So along with food insecurity and the challenges of providing food is trying to increase the awareness through partnerships, particularly with UPMC, about the benefit of eating good food.
Yeah.
And how it can really help you in managing your own health and making you healthy. So when we do these kinds of things and with our partners, which is YMCA, UPMC, because we're in that all proximity, it's almost like there's a wellness campus in the center of Williamsport.
Okay.
Right. So it's more than just eating food.
Exactly.
Right.
You're helping the community so much.
And gardening restores the community. When you bring communities back together for something that is vital to their well-being, you not only are providing food for people, but you're providing food for the restoration of the community.
And they can learn here and then take it along, teach their children.
Absolutely. Everything that we're teaching, you could go to the library and get a book out and read about it. But more important, you can go down to the garden and actually do it. And what you learn there, you could take with you anywhere you go.
Yeah.
People think about gardening and you got to have a lot of ground. You really need nothing more than a pot. Right?
One tomato plant.
I like to think about it as one tomato at a time. You can grow a vegetable garden on the back of your porch. You really don't need a lot of ground to grow enough food for yourself to really supply a lot of food for the whole summer. And it doesn't take a lot of square footage to do that.
Have you ever taught how to can? Do you do any canning?
Yeah, that's good. We thought about it. One of the things that we thought about was how we could use our location there to actually get into maybe setting aside a day where we would make a garden soup. We would get into ways of preserving your foods and things like that.
Sure.
And we're trying to do a better job, think more about doing things in the educational area for all ages. And this year will be the first time that the Salvation Army will run a children's gardening camp.
Neat.
And it's June 8th to June 12th. And we're looking for about 18 young people, and we're very excited about getting into that part of what we think is our mission.
Tell me about the volunteers that are on this mission with you. I'm sure there's wonderful people you work with.
It's astounding. As you talk to various entities, social service entities, and nonprofits in the community, and I'm aware of it, one of the things you hear so much is, we can't get any volunteers, right?
Yeah.
They won't stay around. I'm going to use the word bless again because even just walk-ons, just people organizations in the community who contact us and say they want to help, we probably have somewhere between 40 and 50 volunteers a month.
Wow.
Generating around 250 hours of volunteer labor.
Do you ever turn anyone away?
No, because there's an endless pile of work to do. No, we never can't. No, that would be awful to turn anybody away.
Sure,
there's always something to do.
Help them help you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
What has really struck you being a part of this for so many years? What has maybe a person or a family that really was affected by this garden?
I tell a story, and it has become a bit about my attitude of how you look at the world's problems and the state's problems and the local Williamsport problems and what each of us can do about it. One day I was doing something in one of our back gardens, and a woman walked up with her, maybe a 6-year-old child. And I was actually doing some trellis work with some tomatoes, and she looked at the tomatoes, and she said, "Oh my gosh, aren't they beautiful? And my son loves tomatoes so much, but I can't afford to buy him a tomato." And I said to her, every tomato and plant in this garden is available for your son. So I've come up with this sense in my mind of personally and what, as we look at trying to address people's needs, it all starts with one person at a time. So I call it a one tomato at a time philosophy.
I love that. One tomato, two tomato, three tomato.
Exactly. One gets two, two gets three. So I'm right. We don't think about feeding 40,000 people in Lycoming County right now. We think about feeding one person and then two people and three people and four people. And that's the way we have to look at it.
Did you mention that you do something with the Allenwood Penitentiary or any kind of work with the prison system?
Through a friend of mine, a great friend of our family, Carl Malosky, who's a retired professor of sociology at Bucknell.
Okay. He's
been working, as part of his sociology interests, he's been working in prisons for a number of years, and he was instrumental in what's called the Inside-Outside program with state penitentiaries, and he was at the forefront of getting Bucknell into SEI Cole Township. He retired, but he continued his work with SEI Cole Township through the Bucknell Institute of Lifelong Learning. And so for the last 4 years, I've been part of courses that he has put together where we go to SEI Cole Township. It's usually an 8-session curriculum, and we go down and meet with marvelous, incredible guys. Anyways, at SEI Cole Township, there is an organization called Lifeline. It's about 250 inmates who have long sentences, and part of what they do is charitable giving. So in taking these courses with Carl and sitting down and having friendships, there was one time when I was sitting at a class and a fellow by the name of Ed Wiles, who's president of Lifeline, leaned over to me and said, "So you're running a community garden and you're teaching and there are kids and you're trying to work with the community?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What do you need?" I said, "I am not sure what you mean by what do I need." He said, what would help the garden?" I said, "Well, okay." I said, "We'd love to have a greenhouse." He said, "How much would that cost?" I said, "Oh, about $4,000. He said, "The check's in the mail."
Oh, my gosh.
So our greenhouse down at the community garden farm is from the donation of inmates at SEI Cole Township who feel they have a responsibility to reach back out to the community.
What an incredible thing that must make you feel every day when you go and participate in this.
This is a...
every time you look at that greenhouse.
This is a journey of miracles at this garden.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What would you say your biggest challenge is? Everything's wonderful the way we're talking about it, but is there a challenge that you face that you'd say, oh, this is the hardest part? From
operating the garden, the challenge that we have is the challenge that every gardener has.
Okay. The weather?
How's the weather doing? For gardening, for those of us that are here and try to get better at it, we all know it starts with soil. And if you don't have healthy soil, you can't have healthy plants. The ground that we inhabited were houses all at one time, which were taken down and just dropped basically into their foundations. So the soil quality in the area that we're working with, have worked with over the last 12 years is terrible. We test it, we look at it, we manage it, but we probably, in fact, we had a conversation this morning, we think we brought over 12 tons of manure and wood chips and grass clippings to work that soil over the last 4 years, and it's a never-ending journey.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you keep the weeds from growing? Do you put leaves down?
Right. We aggressively compost.
Okay.
We aggressively mulch, either with mulch that we get from a fabulous partner of ours. We get wood chips. So there are companies obviously around Williamsport that are taking trees down. We go to them and say, they got a truckload of chips, and you say, "Where are you taking that?" And they say, well, we're taking it. We said, "How about dumping that in the garden?"
Yeah.
They dump it in their garden, and then through volunteers, we wheelbarrow it out, and we put it in our growing lanes to hold the weeds down.
Nice.
Not that you can ever hold all the weeds down.
Sure.
But
you can throw them right back in the compost
and
pile.
It's not that we don't have people out there actually picking weeds out of the ground, because we do.
Okay.
But it's a challenging gardening, and you figure out how to tackle it.
So if anybody wants to come and visit, is it just a daily thing? Show up?
Walk-ons.
And come see you at 724 Park Avenue?
Yeah, we have tremendous corporate groups and organizations that regularly volunteer with us. We just had 12 terrific people from PP&L, from their community outreach program. Certainly EQ2 is a major participant. Like Lycoming College, love them. They come down 2 or 3 times a year with 8 to 10 students. But then we have people that just drive up or walk in the street, and they walk in and say, "How can I help?"
Yeah.
So we have that tremendous range of participation.
You talked about the edible walkway. Is that one of the only things that you're looking forward in the future, or is there other ideas that you have?
Well, each year, depending on our friends to the garden and what they're willing to support us with, which is donations or in-kind things, we throw that into the soup, so to speak, and then we have some ideas that just kind of happen. They evolve in our minds. We're constantly researching. So each year, besides operating the garden, we try to scale up to some kind of project. This year, our project is an edible walkway, which fortunately was funded by some very, very kind people, and volunteers are planting that, and then the summer camp. Those are the 2 big kind of capital things we're doing.
Nice. Besides
just operating the garden. Last year, the big thing we did was through the UPMC residency grant program that they were able to secure. We were able to put a drip irrigation system in.
That's nice.
Through other donations, we put in solar power systems because we have no electricity.
Okay.
Yeah.
It comes around.
It comes around.
It's like you are blessed, I believe. How do you describe it?
We smile and talk about it because nobody knew 5 or 10 years ago had any idea that we would be where we are now with this.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is the miracleness of thinking about something and thinking it can never happen, and then all of a sudden the telephone rings and somebody says, "Hey, I had this idea. Would this be helpful?"
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who's the person that helps you the most? Do you have a couple volunteers that come too?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to mention Frederica Bauer, who was a recent Master Gardener graduate and retired teacher. She is at the garden every single day. There's some gentlemen from the neighborhood. Got to give our mentor, our spiritual guide, is Jojo Potts, who lives right across the street. He's called the mayor of Park Avenue.
Okay.
Interesting story. I went to him early on back in 2014, told him about the idea. He went down to Dolly's where he has coffee every day, and the people there said it can't work, won't work, it'll be ripped apart. That never, ever happened.
That prayers work.
Prayers work. Certainly Ricky Lee, who was part of the garden from early on, Winston Lee, his brother. There's a core group of people who are there pretty much all the time.
And I'm sure you just are so grateful for that.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
Yep.
If someone comes to the garden and then they're doing a little bit of work, what do you hope that they take away with them as they go back out in the community?
That's such a personal thing. We all take away from our experiences certain things that are part of who we are and personal things, right? So,
yeah.
What we hope is the restoration of the dignity of people, the value of the universal respect as we come together to do something that is good for all of us as well as ourselves.
I think that learning about this garden today is hopefully going to make that happen for many people.
Absolutely. I invite whoever hears this to drop by, talk to us, even just talking, sharing gardening experiences, just sharing life experiences. The socialization that goes down there is incredible. We have obviously people from Williamsport, people from the Park Avenue neighborhood. We have people from all over the world. We have a couple of beautiful ladies from South Korea. We have a woman who lives somewhere in the neighborhood who was born in China. She comes over, and they teach us gardening things that were part of their culture that we never even knew of. We don't even know what they're growing.
I love that. You'll find out by July.
Yeah, we'll find out. Exactly.
Well, this has just been a wonderful conversation. I'm so glad I'm learning about
Thank
this.
You, Freddi.
It's absolutely wonderful. It's the Salvation Army Williamsport Corps, and you can talk to them. And also,
you can call the Corps. Beautiful people down there. The garden started out as the Red Shield Community Garden, but because we got into this farming side of it, is now called the Salvation Army Community Garden and Urban Farm.
All right. Yeah. You are the manager of the Salvation Army Community Garden and Urban Farm, and you do a wonderful job. I can just feel your passion for this project, and I just wish you the best of luck and more blessings as you go forward.
Thank you. I never have stopped enjoying talking about what we're doing down there. Yeah.
Right. We hope to meet you up down there sometime.
Good.
Go down to 724 Park Avenue in Williamsport.
Yep.
Look for Sid Furst. He's going to be there.
Yeah. Or the other great Frederico or Winston or Ricky. They're all beautiful ambassadors of something that means so much.
Well, thank you for being In Touch today, Sid.
Okay, thank you. It's great to be here.
In Touch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us for questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays 570-323-8200 or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archived files of our In Touch shows, find our Backyard Podcasting link on any Backyard Broadcasting website or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. The programming discussed here on In Touch does not necessarily reflect the feelings or opinions of the management or staff. Thanks for listening to In Touch. Brought to you by Geisinger, Muncie, and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home.